Welcome to Salazar Nation. It's Frank. So this is more of my vlog channel. I'll just update on things and talk about different things that I'm doing, working on. Uh, the last video that I did, I think I'll do a playlist. It's like, I want to be a writer. I want to write. uh, I mentioned some webinars. So there was one by Matt Rudinsky, and I just came from watching one online. So the one with Matt, I ended up missing it, which I did say in the last video, but I watched the playback, and but I was able to attend this one live. Uh, it worked out for me because I thought it was 10 in the morning, and I actually ended up waking up a little late because I did wake up super early, and I kind of messed up my sleep because I couldn't get back to bed. I woke up at 2 a.m. Uh, but I went back to sleep a couple hours later. So just I thought like, oh man, like I missed a part of it, but yeah, it turned out that the webinar was 2 a.m. Uh, their time. It was actually noon my time. So I guess like was that PDT or PST? So like I caught it. So it was cool. It was cool being there to chat. Mostly I was just listening because this one was by Michael Jamin or Jamie, and he was more teaching about being a screenwriter. But there's like a lot of tips that all that I liked, and it's a lot of stuff. And I'll say that about the other one too, like the Matt Rudinsky. It's things I've heard before, things that I knew, but with both webinars, they kind of structured it a little bit better. Uh, so some of it was just like reminders, and some was like, oh, it's like really interesting stuff. So I did get some stuff out of it. I did take a little bit of notes, and with both webinars, they you get a free ebook. So I downloaded that. Let me check because oh, it's in my files. Let's see, for the Michael Jamin one was four things you must know to become. I think it's a screenwriter, a professional writer. So yeah, so it's stuff you can apply just for writing and not necessarily screenwriting. But if that's up your alley, that's then it's something to look into. And the other one with Rudinsky. Let's see. So his book was pretty cool too. Let's see. That one was about writing punchy books, and with his course, you get like templates. Like, but I guess it's like the framework, and I think he suggests like it works better with non-fiction books. So, but so I still got a lot. Uh, a lot of good tips, a lot of good info, and I'm on both of their newsletters, so I still get like some pretty good like info in my email. But I kind of want to like just rant a little bit because both had good information. I have nothing like I'm not complaining about either of them. Uh, both had good information. Uh, I don't have the funds to do their courses, and the one I was just in the free webinar for Michael Jamin, he had a discount, and it's like it expires today. Like it's like in a few hours, or like I think you have like to a certain time, but it's a pretty good discount. But even then, like, well, I mean, I don't have the funds for that. It's it's that, or just like uh rent bills and stuff like that. But like, still got a lot of good information in the ebook. I'm gonna check it out. But we'll see in the chats, and I didn't see that much in the Matt no yeah, Matt Rudinsky's uh chats, because it was a replay, so I didn't really see that. I just saw like uh, Matt addressing questions, and then this one with Michael Jamin says I was in the chats, and even though they weren't being said in the on the video, I I'm reading some comments, and I feel like one or two people kind of complaining uh, about the price, and there are some that were like kind of like in the same boat that I am. That like, oh, they really they want to be in it. They like it, can't afford it. And one guy said like, as soon as I'm able to afford it, uh, and it sounds like when they do the webinars, it's not guaranteed, but sometimes there is like discount, so that there is a chance to do it again. So this person had a good attitude, like, oh, when I can afford it, I'll get into it. Which okay, cool. Um, since it was more like for screenwriters, like it's not something that really interested me, but there was still a lot of good info, a lot of good tips, and some of it was just like, oh, like I know the comic book equivalent of this, or like this is something I actually heard before. I've learned before. Uh, so it was so I still got stuff out of it, and like I said, I'm still in the newsletter, so I'm gonna still be. If there's more free webinars, like, yeah, I'll jump in on those. One of the things I was seeing, I was like, and I get it. You see this all the time. Um, like there are some like, oh, I'm broke, but I'm broke. Like, okay, well then you just can't afford it. And that's fine. There's another guy or another comment. Was I don't know, it was male or female. Couldn't tell by the screen name, but as soon as like like, um, like a price was mentioned, or like, oh, here's the course, and that was like towards the end, and you knew from beginning that there's there's gonna be a pitch for the course. The course is coming. What they're saying, like, there's gonna be a discount, so we stay for that, and it's gonna be temporary for the ones that were there. So you knew it was coming, and like, and with free webinars like this, that's always the case. So you don't have to buy them, but this is something I've seen that like as soon as price is mentioned, and it's like, oh, well, you're a bunch of grifters, and I think they were asking questions that like, oh, like we addressed that, or that's in the course, or you get access to this, to these a group, uh, when you join the course. And what he didn't like that he wanted, or they wanted uh, their question answered, and it's like, well, and some of it's like, and Michael Jamin said like some of these aren't. 30-second answer questions, like some of these I covered before in webinars. And one of them is this free book that I'm giving you, and another one I might make it available for a small fee to just kind of pay like some stuff. Um, so it's that's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. So maybe and they said like when they're able to, but hey, maybe down the line, like, oh, I might be actually able to buy that webinar. Yeah, so something to have access to. But yeah, I see this a lot. And I see this in whether it's comics, writing, um, self, uh, or motivational groups, or anything really. Even like in church, as soon as like money is mentioned, it's like, well, this is a scam. This is a grift. This is like, and uh, and sometimes it's like if you can't afford it, then you can't afford it, and that's it. It's not necessarily a scam. Um, and there's nothing scammy about this. I mean, I can pick up on a scam. This wasn't a scam. Like they provided a lot of good information. So, it was a lot of stuff that, like, oh, I kind of know some of this, but some of it is just more clarified. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I did write in my notes because he had asked like for us to define. Oh no! Don't tell me. Oh, good. I thought I didn't save it. He asked us to define uh, what is a story, and then he gave us the answer. So a story is to have a hero, an obstacle that they go through, and their goal. And sometimes they don't always achieve that goal. So that's the hero's journey. But it was amazing. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I do know this. But it was amazing that he had said, and some other people had said like, oh, I've never heard that before. Or like when teachers and professors are like, oh, what this is what a story is, and it's not this, it's something else, kind of convoluted, or like people like don't know how to define it. I was like, oh, well, like, yeah, this is simple. It makes sense, and but like, yeah, I know this. Like, I got this from Scott Strickland. But yeah, I said, oh, that's cool. And so I just made a note, and there's like stuff like when you're doing your story, you don't dump backstory in there, like, and he gave an example. So that was cool. That was interesting. And I was talking about log lines, which is like what the story is about in a sentence, or and I think that log line can become either like an outline. You kind of like expand on that. So like, oh, so it's like an elevator pitch. But yeah, it's just interesting. Like some of the stuff like I know, and I'm trying to expand from just doing comics. I do want to write better scripts for my comics, or if I can write a script for something else. Uh, so that's why like, okay, I want to look into these webinars. But someone's like, oh well, it's really nothing new. It's just the way it's applied is different. So like, oh, so yeah. So today I'm just gonna sit down. It's got to pay some bills and stuff like that. But I'm gonna sit down and write a short little story that has nothing to do with Captain Goggles or anything. I just want to write something, a story or a poem or something. Because I got some stuff floating around here that I just want to put down to paper, or in this case, a digital notepad. uh, But yeah, but I do want to kind of talk about the um just some people that like man, this person's just whining or complaining. It's like, and I get it, like I can't afford everything, but just because I can't afford it, so it's a scam, or they're grifters. Like I was like, well, it's not their fault you don't have the money. I was like, I'm not joining it. It sounds like a good course, but uh, like, oh, they're a bunch of grifters. Like, no, I don't know. I try to get what I can out of stuff like this. I mean, I already know there's a pitch coming. I already know there's going to be a course. Because the courses are pretty good. They're like affordable, and sometimes they're not. But I already go in knowing that. And like, you know what? I just get what I can, and if there's like free resources, yeah. As long as there's a workbook, so I did download a free workbook on this one, so it's stuff I can kind of go back to, and that free ebook too. So that was good. So that was like two free things, and then the course where temporarily there's like this big discount. Uh, so like I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, I just wanted to make this video, like especially right now since I have like a lot of fresh ideas, or not fresh new ideas, but just like it's still in my head. Uh, yeah, so gonna write something. Uh, I got a little journal where my goal was to write in it every day, but I don't always do that. So I'm gonna write in that, and I'm gonna uh, you know write a poem because I got something brewing from the Toastmasters meeting that I was at Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. I don't know why I'm asking that. I know it's on Wednesdays. Uh, just as I was saying something, it like in my mind I'm thinking this. Oh, this can be a poem. I can write this down, and it might be a poem I can uh, like read later on for like Mother's Day because it has to do with moms, or my mom specifically. But so so yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And also, I had a good conversation the other day with a friend of mine that I've known for years, but haven't talked to him in years as well. And he reached out to me from Alaska. um, and he was remembering and he was like giving me a lot of kudos and praises for like some stories I had written. Like, oh, like send me some of your stories, and like I don't have them anymore. And he was telling me about one that I wrote. Like, oh yeah, I'm and like I think I can rewrite that one because I think I loosely remember some of them, and he was saying like just like try to write them down again, and they might start coming back. So like, oh okay, yeah, I think you can do that. And I remembered a technique that I had on how I came up with different types of stories, and then later I just kind of like would expand on it. Or but it was like, so in case you didn't know, I used to write. uh, but it's something that the technique is just it's the equivalent of like either like the six fan arts challenge that I just did, or the one page comic uh, that Christopher Runsman does, where like you give him a topic or idea or something, and like just a little sentence, it's a few words, and he'll make a one-page comic, and he'll do it like in his way, or like the six fan arts, like oh, just name a hero or name something you want me to draw a fan art of, and I niched it down to the one I just did, villains. And people named some like different type of villains I hadn't heard of or haven't thought of in years. Like, oh, that's cool. So what it was is just like give me a topic, not necessarily a storyline, just a topic. So it could be a word or a couple of words, and I think later people were like, "Can you make it happy?" Because I tended to write dark, but I will come up with a story. Sometimes it'll be just a couple of paragraphs, and sometimes it'll be a couple of pages. And I was like, "Oh, that's good," and I was like, "Can't implement it in there." Like, it might not be like right there. Like someone had given me a topic once, like butterflies, the field of butterflies, like like an open field, and there's a bunch of butterflies. So I did a horror story, and I wrote it on a napkin, and I gave it to the person. Uh, I'm thinking I can kind of rewrite that. I was like, I had a dark humor and dark. I still have a little bit of a. I could write dark. And I think there was like a story I had written about like someone said like yellow feathers. So it was a horror story. And they're like, okay, it's cool. Can you write something not horror? But yeah, I wrote this almost like a Bigfoot type of story. No, spoil it. The monster was Big Bird. But I was like, oh, I could totally do that again. So yeah, so I might rewrite some of the stories. So I do want to write something. Uh, just sit down and just either grab from something that I've done in the past or just a memory or something. And but yeah, I think today I want to get some writing done, and I also need to work on my speech for next week. I'm gonna re-give the speech I did a couple of weeks ago in Toastmasters. I wasn't 100% happy. Uh, and I thought, well, I could probably re-give it and do it this past week that just happened. But someone else had said like, "Oh, I'll do a speech," and someone was like, "I might do a speech." So I just signed up for the table topics master role for that day. But I'm saying, you know what, I want to redo the speech. Um, I think I could do it better because I did get more advice on it um, from a friend who isn't in the Toastmasters. They listen to it because what I do or what I try to do when I do a speech there, I'll record it and then I'll put it up unlisted and I'll just send it out to a few people like, oh, tell me what you think. Any feedback, I welcome it. Because I want to hear like where what was good, what wasn't good, what I could take out. Uh, if I redo the speech or just use that information for the next speech, like to use those tips and critiques. Yeah. So I did appreciate my friend telling me because I was like, oh, I'll send out that link and I won't get any replies or just something like, oh, it's good, and that's it. Like okay, and I could tell. Something like I can tell like they didn't listen to it or they just listened to a little bit or. Like, But so I do appreciate feedback on that. So like, yeah, I want to read that speech, and I do have it uh, unlisted. So only if someone like is like, you know what, hey, I'll listen to it, is willing to sit down and listen to it, and I think it's like maybe like 7 minutes. And let me know. I'll send it to you. But I don't want to like um, release it if it's not gonna be uh, like if I'm not gonna get like feedback or anything from it because I'm trying to improve, trying to learn. So but I don't want to like bug people. So like, so yeah, so that it's there. If someone wants to like take the time to listen to it and give me some feedback, or maybe just like listen to that, and then when I do the new one, and I'll make that one available. So I might make them as I do more, make the like the more polished ones that I'm happy with. Make those available, so it'll be something people can listen to. We'll see once I do a few more and record them. But yeah, I think that's all I have for today. It's 2:14 p.m. my time. Um, gonna get some lunch and do some writing. And I am excited. I am pumped to just get back to writing, like and telling some stories. I think I can come up with like just nonsense. Well, the stories that don't really connect to anything because I'll come up with a story or some characters and people are like, oh, is this gonna be in Captain Gog or is this gonna be in Captain Gog? Is this gonna be like? Sometimes it's just what it is. Uh, but yeah, but yeah. More of my art and stuff that's on my Salazar Art Nation channel, so you can check that out. Uh, yeah, this has been Frank, Salazar Nation. You know, hey, see you later.